The clink of her spoon against the coffee cup was the only sound in the kitchen. That and my heartbeat, loud, uneven, echoing in my ears. I watched her from across the table, her eyes focused on her phone, fingers trembling just slightly as she typed. Then she smiled. Not at me. That smile was the final nail. Who is he? I asked. Her hand froze midair. The spoon fell, splashing coffee onto the table. For a moment the world stood still. She looked up at me, her face pale, lips trembling. Then without saying a word she burst into tears. Her name is Emily. My wife of 12 years. My best friend since college. The mother of our 8-year-old son Liam. We'd built a life together. Mortgage, road trips, anniversary dinners, all the clichés of a happy marriage. Or so I thought. But for weeks something had been off. Late-night texts. Secretive smiles. The smell of cologne that wasn't mine clinging faintly to her hair. I told myself I was paranoid. I blamed stress, exhaustion, imagination. I wanted to trust her because that's what you do when you love someone. You give them the benefit of the doubt, even when the doubt eats you alive. But last night I saw his name. She was asleep beside me, her phone lighting up the dark room. The message flashed briefly on the screen before fading. Can't stop thinking about you. Same time tomorrow. The name above it, Ethan. I didn't sleep after that. I lay there staring at the ceiling, feeling something inside me quietly break. I thought of the years we'd spent together, the promises we'd made, the version of her I believed in. By dawn I'd rehearsed 100 ways to confront her. Angry, calm, sarcastic, cold. But when morning came, all I could manage was that one question. Who is he? Emily covered her face with her hands, her shoulders shaking. I wanted to yell, to demand answers, but all I could do was sit there. Frozen, heart pounding. Please, I said, voice barely a whisper. Just tell me the truth. She lowered her hands, her mascara streaking down her cheeks. I didn't mean for it to happen. That phrase, the universal excuse for every betrayal. How long? I asked. Her silence told me more than any words could. How long, Emily? I repeated louder this time. 6 months, she said finally, voice cracking. It started after your dad died. The air left my lungs. That was the worst part. Knowing that while I was grieving, she was finding comfort somewhere else. Ethan, I said slowly, trying the name on my tongue like poison. Who is he? She looked away. He's a teacher at Liam's school. The room spun. You're telling me you're sleeping with someone who sees our son every day? It wasn't supposed to happen, Mark, she said quickly. He was just someone to talk to. I was lonely. You were so distant after your dad passed. I felt invisible. I laughed, a bitter, broken sound. So you filled the silence with him? Tears streamed down her face, but I couldn't feel sympathy. Not now. Not when every word she spoke felt like another stab to the chest. I needed someone who made me feel seen, she whispered. And I needed a wife who didn't lie to me. The rest of the morning passed in fragments. Liam woke up sleepy-eyed, asking why Mommy was crying. Emily rushed to the bathroom, pretending to have something in her eye. I made him breakfast, hands trembling as I flipped pancakes I couldn't eat. After dropping him at school, I parked my car by the lake and just sat there. The same lake where Emily and I had our first date 13 years ago. Back then, she'd worn a yellow sundress, her laughter echoing over the water. I used to think I was the luckiest man alive. Now that same lake felt like a cruel reminder of everything I'd lost. I tried to hate her, but it wasn't that simple. Love doesn't vanish just because someone shatters it. It lingers, stubborn and painful, like a wound that refuses to close. By afternoon she texted me. Can we talk when you get home? Please. I'll tell you everything. I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. Be ready. That evening I walked into a quiet house. The air was heavy with tension. Emily sat on the couch, eyes swollen from crying. I ended it with him, she said immediately. Last night. I scoffed. How convenient. I swear, Mark. I told him it was over. Why should I believe that? She hesitated. Because I realized I don't want to lose you. The words were soft, but they didn't land. Once trust is gone, everything that follows feels rehearsed. I sat across from her. You said it started 6 months ago. What exactly happened? At first it was just messages. We talk about school events, parenting, small stuff. Then one night, after that PTA meeting, we went for coffee. I told him about how you'd shut down after your dad died, how I felt like I was living with a stranger. He listened. He made me feel wanted. I finished for her. She nodded. And after that? Her eyes fell to the floor. It turned physical about a month later. I closed my eyes. I didn't want the details, but my mind painted them anyway. The touch, the kisses, the lies. I wanted to stop, she said quietly. Every time I saw you and Liam together, I felt sick. But I couldn't seem to let go. I told myself it was harmless, that it meant nothing. But it did. You think saying that makes it better? I asked. No, she whispered. I just want you to know I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this, I said. Sorry doesn't erase what you did while I was mourning my father. She covered her mouth, sobbing. I stood up, pacing the room. My hands were shaking, and I could feel the anger finally surfacing. Do you even realize what you've done to us? I said. To our family? To Liam. I do, she cried. That's why I ended it. That's why I told him not to contact me again. And what if he does? He won't. I laughed bitterly. You really believe that? Affairs don't end with a neat goodbye text, Emily. She flinched. I'll change my number. I'll do whatever it takes. I stopped pacing and looked at her, really looked. The woman I'd loved for over a decade sat there trembling, broken, desperate. And yet, beneath the tears, I could still see the woman who once made me feel alive. That hurt more than anything. We didn't speak for days after that. We moved around each other like ghosts, saying only what was necessary for Liam's sake. At night, I'd hear her crying in the spare bedroom. Sometimes I almost knocked on her door. Almost. Then one evening, a letter appeared on the kitchen counter. My name on the envelope, written in her handwriting. Inside, she poured out everything. How she hated herself for what she'd done. How she missed the way I used to look at her. How she wished she could turn back time. At the end, she'd written, If you can't forgive me, I understand. But please don't let Liam grow up thinking his mother is a monster. I'm human. I made a terrible mistake, but I still love you. I read that letter 5 times. Each time my chest tightened a little more. The truth is, part of me still loved her too. But love isn't always enough. Not after betrayal. A week later, I met Ethan. It wasn't planned. I saw him outside the school when I picked up Liam. He recognized me immediately. His smile fading, his posture stiffening. Mr. Collins, he said cautiously. I didn't hit him. I didn't yell. I just looked at him. This man who'd stepped into my life and wrecked it, and asked, Do you have a family? He swallowed hard. No. Then you wouldn't understand what you destroyed. He nodded, shame in his eyes. I'm sorry. Truly. Don't ever talk to her again, I said. And if I find out you have, I'll make sure everyone at that school knows exactly what kind of man you are. He didn't argue. He just walked away, head low. I stood there for a long time, watching him disappear down the street. The anger didn't bring relief. Just emptiness. That night I told Emily I wanted space. She nodded silently, tears welling up again. I understand, she whispered. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said. But I also don't know if I'm ready to throw away 12 years. Her voice broke. What do you want me to do? Nothing, I said. Just let me breathe. She nodded again, then reached out hesitantly, her fingers brushing mine. For a second I didn't pull away. For a second it felt like the world might still be fixable. But then I remembered the message on her phone. Same time tomorrow. And I pulled my hand back. Weeks passed. We started therapy, for Liam's sake, not for ours, at least at first. The counselor told us healing was possible, but only if both of us wanted it. Some days I think I do. Other days I can't even look at her without seeing his name. Trust once broken is like shattered glass. You can piece it together, but the cracks never disappear. Still, sometimes in the quiet moments, when she packs Liam's lunch, or when she hums softly while folding laundry, I see glimpses of the woman I married. The one who loved me before life and grief got in the way. Maybe that's why I haven't left. Not yet. Because part of me still hopes. Every morning now, we sit together at the same table. Coffee. Silence. The clink of the spoon still echoes, But there's something different. An honesty in the quiet. Sometimes she catches me watching her, and for a brief second, her eyes search mine like she's begging for forgiveness. And maybe one day I'll find it in me to give it. But for now, the question that started it all still lingers between us. Unspoken, heavy, eternal. Who is he? The answer may have come, but the wound it opened still bleeds.